This is the Team Associated Datsun 620. After I got this truck and did a review on it, I had one question more than anything else. Does this body fit all of the current popular rear-wheel drive drift platforms that are out there? So I have the Redcat RDS, I have a Yokomo YD2, and I have an MST RMX, all to answer it. So we're gonna measure the body and we're gonna test fit it in all three of these chassis. First up, this is the Redcat RDS chassis, and if we go to put the body on it, what we can see immediately is that the wheel spacing is actually just about perfect. It looks like you could mount that up just beautifully. Side to side body fitment with these flares that come on this looks absolutely perfect. Literally, looks like it would go right down on there. Of course, the biggest issue is that with the Redcat RDS, it uses a pretty big spur gear and it's pretty high up. So that means it's actually higher than the body posts. In order to get this Huna truck body to fit, which is also from Team Associated, I did have to notch out in the bed area for that spur gear to fit through. And I actually ended up shaving off a little bit of the top of the transmission here, all to get it to sit down as low as possible. And then I have some custom motor mounts. But from a just simple dimension standpoint, this Team Associated Datsun 620 will also fit beautifully. Yes, you'll have to do some cutting to let the spur gear come through, maybe a couple things like that, but it'll fit. Next up is the Yokomo YD2 platform. And as we set the body down on it, again, looking at distance, wheelbase right here is looking good. And then the same thing from the width, it's looking like it'll fit just fine. Similar to the Redcat, we do need to consider motor position, and is there a lower motor position that we can get it down into? Rear shock towers are actually pretty dang tall on this, and so we'd have to consider, is there a way to cut those shock towers off, redo them? Maybe you'll end up just like the Redcat, having to end up cutting some distance out, a gap out of the bed in order for the spur gear to sit down nice and flush and get the whole body way down in there. But otherwise, make your own body mounts and it should fit just fine. Lastly, here is an MST RMX, and again, as we start to set it down, wheelbase is looking good, track width is looking really nice, tires are tucking in beautifully. So again, that looks like it'll work out really well. Similar to the previous ones, you're going to have to figure out your own body mounts for it, and this motor is going to need to either be cut through or it's going to need to be clocked down underneath. This may be the chassis that actually fits the easiest, potentially, depending on the exact shock towers. These are some aftermarket carbon fiber shock towers. So depending on which shock towers you're running, exactly how you have your motor and everything, it runs a smaller spur gear. So chances are that it would actually fit under there with the least amount of effort. Now for the body dimensions overall, total 17 inches long. When we look fender flare to fender flare, we're exactly 7.5 inches in the front, and just a little bit wider, actually 7 3/4 inches in the rear. And then center of wheel to center of wheel is somewhere around 10 1/4, something like that. So hopefully that gives you at least a little bit better idea of if it fits your chassis or not. Team Associated really did a good job with this body. The molded details there in the front grille, the wing, you know, the flares and the stickers. It actually is headlight. It's actually LED ready with the buckets and everything and holders inside of it. The mirrors there, the windshield wipers, they did a great job with it. You can buy this body, I believe, pre-painted, but you can also buy the body clear. You do need to make sure when you buy it, though, that you get the hard plastic set with it, because that is a separate part number, and that's how you get all of those fancy details. So I'm going to leave a link to the body and all the different parts that it has down in the video description. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions about how I measured it or what I did here, leave them down in the video description. If you're curious about anything else I've done for drifting, there's a playlist popping up to your right. Thank you. See you later.